Okay, so today we're going deep on a concept that I think is pretty universal, and that's the core ideas behind Gary Chapman's book, The Five Love Languages, The Secret to Love That Lasts. And I know a lot of you are interested in, like, what makes relationships work, how do we really connect? And so this book kind of gives us a cool framework to think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about how we express and experience love,
Mm,
right? And the idea is we don't always do it in the same ways. So Chapman identifies these five love languages,
mm,
and figuring those out, both for yourself and your partner, can be super helpful.
mm.
Sometimes you're putting in the effort, but it's not really landing, and this might be why.
Gotcha. So let's break down these five love languages. What are we talking about here?
So first up, you've got words of affirmation.
Mm.
And this is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's all about expressing affection verbally,
Hmm.
you know, compliments, words of encouragement, basically anything you hear that makes you feel appreciated and valued.
It makes sense. So, like telling someone you're proud of them or that you appreciate their help with something like that.
Exactly. And then we have quality time, which isn't just about being in the same room. It's about really being present, giving someone your undivided attention, engaging in meaningful activities together, no phones, no distractions, just that focused connection.
Yeah, I can see how that would be huge for some people.
Absolutely. Then there's receiving gifts. And again, it's not about the monetary value here. It's the thought behind it. A thoughtful gift, no matter how small, can really show someone you care and that you were thinking about them.
Right. So it's more about the gesture than the actual thing itself.
For sure. And then there's acts of service. This one's all about actions, speaking louder than words, doing things for someone helping out with tasks. It's a very practical way of showing love.
Like doing the dishes or taking out the trash without being asked, kind of thing.
Exactly. And lastly, we have physical touch,
Mm.
which is any form of physical affection, hugs, holding hands, a pat on the back. It's about that physical connection that can be really reassuring and comforting for some people.
Okay, so we've got these five languages, but why is it so important to actually know what they are? I mean, shouldn't we just express love however it feels natural to us?
Well, that's the thing. We tend to express love in the way we like to receive it, but that might not be what our partner needs.
Yeah.
So let's say your love language is acts of service. So you're doing all these chores and errands for your partner, thinking you're being super loving, but maybe their language is words of affirmation. So they're not really feeling the love because they're not hearing those words of appreciation. It's like you're speaking different languages and the message is getting lost in translation.
Ah, so the key is to learn your partner's language and actually speak it, even if it's not your native tongue, so to speak.
Yeah, it's about making that effort to communicate love in a way that really resonates with them. If their language is quality time, then putting your phone away during dinner and actually having the conversation is going to mean way more than just being in the same room while you're both on your devices.
Okay, so could you give me an example of how this might look in a real relationship?
Sure, let's say one partner is all about receiving gifts and the other is all about acts of service. So the gift person might feel super loved when they get a little surprise present, just a small token of affection. And they might be showing your love by doing chores around the house, which the acts of service person appreciates, but it doesn't necessarily scream, I love you to them, you know?
I see. So they're both showing love, but in ways that the other person isn't fully receiving.
Exactly. And understanding this difference can help both partners feel more loved and appreciated, you know?
So, big takeaway here, it seems like knowing these love languages can be a really powerful tool for better communication and connection in our relationships. It's about making sure that love is not only given, but also received in a way that feels meaningful.
Yeah, and I think it's really insightful to realize that sometimes when we feel unloved, it's not because our partner doesn't love us.
Hmm,
It's just that they're speaking a different love language and we're not quite understanding what they're trying to say.
that's a good point. So, for all of you listening out there, it might be worth taking a moment to think about what your own primary love language might be. What makes you feel most appreciated and loved, and then think about how you typically express love to others. Are you speaking the right language? Are you hitting the mark with the people that matter most to you?
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating thing to consider, and it can really open up some new doors for understanding and strengthening your relationships.
Oh, absolutely. Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive, and thanks for breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, everyone, until next time, keep diving.
Take care.